Preface to France in America by William J. Eccles. With the statue, it is the stone that is not there that counts. The same is true of this book. A survey of the history of the French colonies in the Americas during the colonial period, incorporating the results of recent research, appeared to be the best way to achieve the declared aim of the New American Nation series. The main problem in writing this volume thus became the necessity to compress. The French West Indies and Louisiana have had, therefore, to be dealt with rather summarily because the main emphasis had to be on Canada, since the latter colony played a much more vital role in the history of the Americas than did any other of the French colonies. Had Canada not been conquered by Britain, and that conquest was by no means foreordained or inevitable, the history of North America would have flowed in different channels. This is not true of either Louisiana, which could not have stood alone, or the Antilles. Unlike the Spanish in the Americas, the French today are only a few million people, largely concentrated in the eastern part of Canada, struggling to preserve their separate identity. This was not their condition in the 18th century. Then, France and her Indian allies dominated most of North America, from the North Atlantic coast to the Rocky Mountains, from the subarctic to the Gulf of Mexico, while the English held only the Atlantic coastal strip and a few isolated posts in Hudson Bay. Since the historian is concerned with the past for its own sake and only incidentally with what developed out of it, he has to strive to be detached from the present and its claims. He has to view the past through the eyes of the people of the past age and the culture he studies and depicts, to judge men and their actions by the values of their own time rather than his own. Thus, of necessity, this book views events and development from the French rather than the English side of the hill. There would, however, be no history without change, and the present cannot help but impinge. Today, questions that were not asked before are being put to our own society, our institutions, and our values. Much that was long taken for granted is presently being challenged. As a consequence, the historian now asks questions of the past and, through research, seeks the answers that would never have occurred to Reuben Gold Thwaites, author of the volume France in America, in the original American Nation series. This book is based on research undertaken over several years. A great many people and institutions, archivists, librarians, colleagues, graduate students, the editors of this series, foundations, have given me aid. Without their help, this work could not have been accomplished. To them all I express my sincere thanks. In particular, I must acknowledge my indebtedness to the Canada Council for a Killam Award, which provided the financial assistance and freedom from academic duties needed to bring the work to completion. William J. Eccles.